All right. What is up, everyone? Sunnyvale here, giving you a standalone deck tech for my ECQ deck that I just played on stream this morning. All the games that I played are recorded on video, and I'll definitely include a link to the video of that. Although, admittedly, I didn't talk too much. I was mostly focusing on the game. I wasn't interacting with chat a ton, but they are recorded if you want to take a look at them. This deck list is, well, I played Rakano Valkyries. It looks like a deck that did pretty well a while back, but hasn't seen a ton of play right now. I'll also, of course, have a link to this deck list. One of the things that's going on in this format is there's a lot of people trying to play Harsh Rule, and I wanted a deck that was really good against that, and there are a lot of people trying to play Sites, both Zoltar Arcanum and Garden of... Is it Garden of Omens? Whatever the Sky Crag site with 2 health and makes all your spells cost 1 less. Those are 2 cards that were big on my radar, and so was Harsh Rule, so I wanted a deck that was really good against that. What card is really good against Sites and Harsh Rules? Ikaria the Liberator. You've got... Can I make it big? Here we go. You've got Aegis, you've got Flying, and you've got Charge and Warcry 5. It's basically all you could ask for when you're playing against decks that are trying to go long. It's hard to deal with, it makes your future threats strong, it attacks right away, all that great stuff. And we're playing as many copies of this card as possible. We've got 3 in the main deck, 1 in the market, and then the 4 Winchest Merchants to go find Ikaria for those late game situations. It's just a really powerful card right now, and I want to play as many copies as possible. Other cards that I think are really good against the things that I mentioned. Rezon does a nice job. You almost never get lifesteal with Rezon in this deck, but it's fine. Dealing 3 damage to something, you can pick off almost all merchants or the garden when you play Rezon, and even if it dies immediately, it still gets a little bit of value for you. And that's pretty important. And the 4 of Sheriff Marley, which is really hard for decks that are playing Harsh Rule or Sweepers to deal with, because, you know, you play Threat, and then Marley, and then all of a sudden when they play a Sweeper, they're still taking 4 damage from the Sheriff Marley attack. Silence wasn't hugely relevant. Drawing Deputies was nice, like just something to do with the power, but not absolutely necessary. I mean, the rest of the deck looks pretty much like how you would expect a Valkyries list to look. I mean, we've got a ton of power sources because we're just playing such expensive cards. There's essentially 39 power with the 29 actual powers and the 4 Seek power. Ikaria to ramp for the early game. Valkyrie Enforcer is great for just keeping opponents' units in check, and of course the Torch for removal. Some cards that are either not 4-ofs or are not in all lists. You have Emily here. I was going into this weekend thinking that Amelia is very good against some things. The Skycrag decks are playing Ice Bolts not only off of Garden, but also just Ice Bolts in their deck, and the 8 health is a really big deal against that. Also, against aggro that don't have hard removal, it's just really hard to attack through an Amelia, so I knew I wanted some number of copies, but I don't think I wanted all 4, because it's just kind of a clunky card, and if it gets removed without doing anything, without attacking or blocking, it doesn't accomplish anything. I'm playing Emily over Saditi because that alleviates some pressure off my power base, so I can play Grant Waystone, which is pretty good for the extra unit, for the extra card to go ship it to the market, or just play an extra unit as sacrifice fodder for Vara. Another card that is not a 4-of is Minotaur Platemaker. This card's really strong. It's in a similar camp to Amelie, where if it survives, it's fantastic, but it can die without getting any value. It doesn't have any protection for itself. Another good anti-aggro card. It's a good sink for your power if you've just got a bunch of power lying around in this and other units. But again, it's not as good as Sheriff Marley, so I shaved it. And 2 Seraph Grand Strategist. One issue that this deck has it can fold to early aggro pretty well. Seraph does a nice job of blocking that, and also since there are so many power sources, Seraph can do a nice job of just giving you something to do with all your power in the late game. So Seraph's mostly there just to block, but sometimes you can start turning out units. 2 Defiance, 2 Roland's Intervention, 1 Finest Hour. The Finest Hour is to keep people off their toes. The top 64 is going to be an open deck list event, and having a bunch of different spells is going to keep people honest, so they don't know exactly what's in my hand. If I was playing this on ladder, I might change the numbers here, but honestly, a lot of these cards, Seraph, Platemaker, Emily, Defiance, Finest Hour, Intervention, they're all cards that are like situationally fantastic, but not the best in multiples. So I made a lot of the numbers look really weird, and I was pretty pleased with it. I'll also be honest, I didn't get a ton of time to test this list. I was playing Valkyries for the last 2 days, and I was very happy with it, winning a lot of my matches. I don't know what percentage, but I was very happy with where it was, and I just tweaked some numbers. I was like, I think this will be good. And it did pretty well. As you can see, up to on the left-hand side, you see all my opponents and what they were playing. And we went 21-7. I think I mentioned that before, but it's a good record. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I think this is pretty well positioned against a lot of the decks that people are playing right now. What it's not good against is, I don't think it's good against Elysian. I don't think it's good against Maul, which is an Elysian deck. I don't think it's good against Stone Scar. I think those are the natural predators of this deck. It's super clunky. If you have people putting pressure on you to impact the board turn after turn after turn, it's really tough. And especially since they can get through cards like Emily and whatnot. Emily and Platemaker don't really stop those decks because they have Annihilate and Equivocate. Market, not much to talk about here. We already talked about Ikaria. Stormhalt Knife is a nice one against aggro. It is some measure, so like you can try to catch up on tempo with the knife. Deep Forge Plate is great against Permafrost, although it wasn't insane. And I think that you need some Pristine Light against someone that's playing like Sandstorm Titan, which is another big problem card for you. Vara is also another big problem card that Pristine Light answers. So having access to one in the market is pretty nice. And it's also another card that's just like not great in multiples. And of course the power in the market. I thought about playing Reclaim, but my deck is just too clunky. I just wanted a power that I didn't have to spend any power for. So there's the deck. Feel free to play it. Good luck if you haven't yet played your ECQ matches yet. And I will see you on Sunday, I guess. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more Eternal strategy content and me misplaying the heck out of Pristine Light. Is that clip on there? I should definitely put that on YouTube. And be sure to follow me on Twitch. I stream Eternal Mondays through Thursdays at 8 a.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/sunnyvale. I'll include links of both of them. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.